I might be wrong. I don't remember. I can't really say anything without spoiling. And it wasn't bad. Well, hello. Welcome back to my channel. Joshana here to talk about some friggin' books that I have read recently. I was reading so painfully slow most of the year. My God. And I mean, I'm always like a slower reader, I think. It's rare that I finish a book in like under 4 days. I feel like a week is about my like average, just because I don't sit down and read for an hour a day. It's like very intermittent reading here and there. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. I digress. But yeah, I've been picking it up recently. So I'm loving that. Yay. The last few reviews I did was from August, and these are some more that I finished in August. Actually, the rest that I finished in August, yeah. There's 4 books, and one of them is a DNF. And that's the first DNF I've had since June. I did not have any DNFs in all of July and in most of August. It was just like the other day, like 2 days ago, that I DNF'd this one. So at any rate, I'll get into the first one that I completed recently, and that was Nigeria Jones by E.B. Zaboy. This was a 2023 release, came out a few months ago, and I had it on my anticipated releases list. It is young adult contemporary, which, you know, isn't my jam. So I was very about this one, but I really liked Pride by E.B. Zaboy. I loved the authorial voice, the writing style. Oh my God, it's so good. I loved it. Very like, it's just poetry. So I wanted to try this one, even though it's not a genre I lean toward anymore at all. And the premise of this one is basically we're following a girl named Nigeria Jones, who has grown up in this kind of like black liberation movement in the Philadelphia area. Her father is the leader of this movement. Her mother helps him like run it and organize things. She's been homeschooled and lives in this like communal home and is just very sheltered, very, very sheltered, right? And we start out on 4th of July, her baby brother's 1-year birthday. Nigeria is 16, I want to say, 16 or 17. And her mother has dipped. Her mother has been out of the picture for like basically since her brother was born, like since right after her brother was born. And she is just like desperately hoping her mom comes back and all these things. And then she finds out that her mom had enrolled her in this local private school, a Quaker-run school, and she got accepted, and her mom's best friend, who is this white woman that her dad hates and like doesn't want anything to do with, she is like, hey, your mom enrolled you, you got in, like, can we make this happen? And so it's basically a story, a coming-of-age story of this girl kind of trying to figure out who she really is and wants to be and what she really believes, not just like what her dad tells her to believe, what everyone in this movement tells her to believe, nor what anyone outside of the movement tells her to believe. Like, it's just her trying to be like, where do I stand? And I felt like this book was very much the embodiment of no community is a monolith. Like, that seemed to me to be like this overarching message, kind of way more tight-knit community like this. Even within this community, people living in the house having different opinions on things. And it's just Nigeria kind of navigating all of that amidst this issue of like, is my mom gonna come back? She just abandoned me. And, you know, things go from there. Obviously, I don't want to get spoilery with anything. If you've read the book, there was a thing that happened toward the end, like, that I saw coming, basically. Like, very early on, I was like, oh, I think this is what is going to happen and what we are going to learn about the history of events here. And I was correct, and I don't know, I didn't love, I can't really say anything without spoiling. So I'm going to put a timestamp in of when you can skip ahead if you plan on reading this book, because it's a huge spoiler. Huge spoiler, okay? So, Nigeria Jones, spoiler time, starting now. Skip ahead to the timestamp if you'd like to skip this. I knew her mom was dead, like very early on. Not right away, but it was like very early on where like she said something about like, well, when my mom comes back, and it was like her friends were there, and like one of them made a face at the other one. And I was just like, I'm suspicious. We are focusing so much. She just keeps going on and on about like, when's my mom coming back? And it was just, and then like other things started, the puzzle pieces started coming together where I was like, yeah, her mom's definitely dead. And so then that big reveal that happened didn't, well, I don't know, it didn't impact me really. I was like, oh, yep, okay, I was correct. And I just felt like it was a little too rushed after that. It was just like, oh, she's remembering. And I also found it just very odd that for a year and a half, because her mom died giving birth, and she didn't like remember the events until a year and a half later, and she's like 16, 17 years old. Nobody in a year and a half tried to sit her down and be like, girl, sweetie, honey, baby, you are living in such extreme denial. It is unhealthy. Like, she had those memories so suppressed that she was going around talking to people saying, well, when my mom comes back, and like one person, I think it was her cousin, had said like, why do you always refer to her in the present tense? And she was like, well, because she's going to come back. Come on, people. So, like, she's not a toddler. You know what I mean? Like, I can understand if a little kid was saying stuff like that and like wanting to be really gentle. And I can understand even like a few weeks, maybe even a couple months of like, we're going to let her like process and like nobody saying, but like, and I just found it hard to believe too that no single person would have accidentally slipped up. Like everyone got the like talk apparently. I don't know. Like we didn't have it explained of like, hey, don't say anything to her. Don't correct her. Let her think her mom just ran away, okay? Like what? I don't know. And like her dad letting this go on this long, I don't find this believable. It's so irresponsible on all of these adults' parts. Someone should have attempted that conversation with her or gotten her help. Like gotten her therapy. I know her dad wouldn't have wanted her to do that, but like her mom's best friend that was like woo-woo hippie chick, she could have tried to handle it or found someone she knew who was like a holistic therapist or something to like talk to her. And I don't know. I just found that so unbelievable that not a single person in a year and a half would want to try to like talk to this girl about like her extreme denial and suppressed memories. So I didn't love that part of it. I just was like, it felt a little bit like a cheap way of getting like shock value. Like, oh my gosh. Because the rest of the book was kind of like quiet, I would say. Like she had a little bit of drama going on, but like nothing crazy. She was kind of like spiraling, but it was like all very like at a distance. We were like at a distance emotionally from like all this other stuff that was going on with her. So I just found that thing hard to believe at any rate. But again, I did, that aside, not loving how that was handled and everything, I still thought that it was a nuanced conversation, especially for like a young adult audience. I thought it was a nuanced conversation, and I appreciated, like I said, that overall message of like, here is the embodiment in book form of no community of people, no group is a monolith. And I thought it was done pretty well. I don't know. Go check out other reviews, of course, for other opinions. I obviously cannot speak to like that community specifically, the Black community, and like what was going on in there, but I thought it was done in a pretty nuanced, complex way. I ended up giving this 3.75 stars. Like I thought it was pretty solid, but I wasn't like obsessed, you know? Next, I read a historical fiction that has been on my TBR since the dawn of time, it feels like, and I finally was like, I need to pick this friggin' book up. Rebel Queen by Michelle Moran. Oh, and I got both of these from the library, FYI. That is why I don't have them. But also didn't like love either one where I wanted to buy a copy. This one included. It was fine. It was cool. I enjoyed it, I guess. We're following someone who was in this like female warrior guild, basically. It says in the synopsis like an army, but it was like a small group of women that were following basically the queen, but Rani Lakshmi, in this time period where Britain has come into India and been like, we're taking over, colonialism, woohoo. And the Rani is ruling. The Raja doesn't really do very much. It's really the Rani that like runs shit. Then things ensue and she needs to get her kingdom back. The British are like, we're fucking taking over officially. Like, you're no longer gonna be anything, basically. And my biggest thing with this was the synopsis, I don't think is very, very good. The synopsis made it sound like battle was gonna be happening. Like, the Rani is this warrior queen that gets her male army and her female army and she leads them into battle. And I was just like, hell yeah, sounds cool. And like, technically that does happen way later in the end of the book, and it's very passing like mention of this happening. It was not the main point. The most of the book was this woman who was in this like female guild of warriors trained to like be around the Rani all the time protecting her. It was like her life story, basically. It was like her life story up until getting into this guild, and then like getting to know the Rani more and becoming a confidant of the Rani, and then like all this shit happening and like her perspective of these events. And it wasn't bad. It was cool or whatever. I just didn't get super gripped by any of it. I wasn't emotionally connected to anything that was happening, really. It was interesting, but not like the most interesting thing, I suppose. So I ended up giving this one 3.25 stars. It was like above middle of the road, but I wasn't in love. And then another 2023 new release that I was anticipating, because I think the second book, this is the third book in the trilogy, the second book was like 2017 or 2018. I might be wrong. I don't remember. Maybe it was 2019. It's been a couple years though, and I was very much anticipating this one. The Beauty Trials by Danielle Clayton. The Bells, book 3, and I'm pretty sure it's done and over with now. It's nowhere is it definitive that I can find though. It just says like the next book in the Bells series, so I don't know if there's going to be more. There could be, I suppose, but the way it was left off was pretty much a closed book, I would say. And I liked this, but I have the first 2 books in the original covers. The third book is not coming out in that cover, so I'm gonna unhaul those. And then I was debating buying like a box set of these 3 books in the new covers. Still might, but I don't know. I didn't love this one. I really liked the first book a lot. This world is just so cool. The world is so cool. It's like so pretty on the surface and then like dark and disgusting underneath. And we have such a great evil villain character in this series. Sophia is immaculate as a villain. Like, she's creepy and just like, gives you the heebie-jeebies, because she's like so nice and sweet, but like evil to her core. And the second book was like, okay, cool. I'm not mad at it. I liked it. And then this one was kind of similar, where like I liked it, but I didn't love it. I don't know. But it was like a quick read. We have like trials happening, obviously the beauty trials, to like find the new queen of this kingdom. But we're following a different character than we followed in the first 2 books. So in the first book, we're following Camille, who's one of the Bells. And then in the second book, we're still following Camille, but she pairs up with one of her sisters, Adel, and we're with them throughout most of it. But it's all from Camille's point of view, but with Adel in there quite a bit. And then this third book is Adel's POV. And like Camille's there once or twice, but she's kind of off doing her own thing. And we're following Adel. And I didn't mind that, honestly. I liked Adel. And I honestly feel like I liked Adel's POV more than I liked Camille's. I like Camille. She's cool, but she's just kind of there. Whereas Adel was like a little bit more interesting. But the book, just the plot, I guess, kind of felt very surface level. And there's like kind of a romance, a love triangle. But again, it was very like surface level to me. I didn't get connected too much to either. The book could have been a little longer, honestly. Like as far as that kind of stuff, like developing these relationships. We just didn't get enough of it, I didn't think, for me to feel really gripped by it. So I ended up giving this 3.5 stars. So I still enjoyed it. Like, I still liked it. I still might buy the box set of the paperbacks someday. just because I love the world. It's so pretty and cool and interesting. And they are pretty quick reads. And they're like adventure, whatever, you know, young adult. So I don't know. I might someday because I like the series. I think it's underrated and like underhyped for sure. But yeah, I don't want to scream from the rooftops about it, I guess, you know? And then very, very sad, and I kind of anticipated that this was going to happen, a book that I bought a physical copy of that was so beautiful that I really wanted to love just because this edition is so pretty and I wanted to keep it. But the more I heard about the book, I was like, I don't know if I will love it. Oh, we shall see. And that is A Taste of Gold and Iron by Alexandra Rowland. I mean, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. It's like got the foiling, I don't know if you can see. And then like this here is like colored, but it's like dark maroon, burgundy, and like blue. Oh my God, it's just so pretty. Has the nice little pink end pages. Then it's just like a regular naked hardcover. But yeah, it's so beautiful. I got like 20% into this though, and was not loving it. I was listening to it on audio, but I liked the audiobook narrator, so it wasn't an issue of that. I just was bored. I was very bored, like incredibly bored. I just did not care. And like the main characters weren't doing that much for me. Like they were cool. I wasn't disliking anything. There wasn't some element of it that I was like, oh God, this is driving me crazy, like I often do with DNFs. It was just, I just did not care in the slightest. And I realized, like, I'm 20% in. I should feel something. I should have some curiosity even about what's gonna I had no curiosity for the plot. Did not care about the characters. So, DNF, very sad. I'm going to be selling this. I have it listed on my Pango Books account. So check it out if you want to buy this. It's very beautiful and unread. Oh, there's that, but I just didn't love it. A lot of people have been really liking it. And that's when I said, like, hearing people talk about it, I wasn't sure I was going to love it. Not because I heard people disliking it. I've heard several people loving this book. But the way they were talking about it, I was just like, perhaps not for me. And I was right, unfortunately. And there we are. That is it for everything I finished or DNF'd, just one, in August. Let me know if you've read any of these. If so, how did you feel about them? Or if you are intrigued by any of them. There wasn't anything that I like loved and was obsessed with, but there were like, I was like, yeah, they're cool. Like there was nothing I hated either, you know? They were all above average. So that's good. As always, thank you so much for your time. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.